FDR and his wife did not really get along due to his numerous affairs, but she took care of him and was instrumental in helping him to cope with polio, which ravaged his body. Later on, their relationship got more unusual, especially for that time. I think today we would call it an open marriage. FDR had numerous relationships, and so did Eleanor. Eleanor had relationships with men and women. She had relationships with her bodyguard, Earl Miller, and Lorena Hickok, a female journalist. She was not, however, always there during the war. She hated the war and anything to do with it. One of FDR's greatest joys was stamp collecting. He would look at his stamps often, particularly before he went to bed. It seemed to relax him. He also enjoyed mystery novels, rare books, and model ships. He was always interested in naval affairs. In college, he was part of the rowing team, and his love for the water stayed with him throughout his life. He loved to swim and to sail. In college, he was in the glee club. He played the piano and the organ, and he always had a piano close by. Anchors Away, Home on the Range, and The Yellow Rose of Texas were amongst his favorites. He loved dogs, and he had six of them, including maybe the most famous dog of all, Fala. Few people remember Fala anymore, probably because Lassie instilled a fading memory. If you ask about famous dogs today, you'll probably get Lassie, Scooby, or maybe Snoopy. They all certainly come before old Fala. Fala is the only dog to have a statue made with the president. One time, a reporter even accused FDR of spending millions of dollars on Fala. This arose because the reporter claimed that the dog was left on the Aleutian Islands and he had to be retrieved. FDR repeatedly denied this, but FDR was pretty good at keeping a secret. FDR sort of ate like a child. He loved consuming grilled cheeses and hot dogs. For breakfast, it was scrambled eggs. Occasionally, he might eat some fish chowder for dinner. He would follow his meal with a cup of coffee. The beans were grinded for that coffee right there in the White House. FDR would personally supervise the grounding of his beans. He also reused the grounds to help with the shortage of coffee. That might not have tasted very good. His favorite adult beverage was called a Bermuda rum swizzle. What you do is you mix a couple different types of rum, some brandy, some fruit juices, and some grenadine, and some bitters. Then you swizzle it with crushed ice, and you feel like you're on the islands. FDR's White House car was a 1939 Lincoln Model K limousine, V12, four-door convertible. It was purchased for $4,950, about $110,000 in today's money. His personal car, which was modified with hand controls so he could drive it, was a 1936 Ford Phaeton. Eleanor used it until 1946. It had 19,143 miles on it. That's only about 2,000 miles a year. Not much driving. On a more serious note, FDR took great pains to cover up his disability. He would stand through the use of steel braces, which caused him enormous pain. An untold number of photographs and videos have been taken of him, and very few you see him in a wheelchair. The only exception to this rule was when he went to visit wounded soldiers at the hospital. Many of those soldiers were facing the loss of a leg or an arm or other catastrophes. he would have somebody slowly push him through the corridors. It was to demonstrate to the men that their commander-in-chief was indeed dealing with the same circumstance. If he could rise up to be the President of the United States, then they can still have a full and productive life if they could work through it. At the VA was the only time FDR would openly show his disability to give comfort and hope to the wounded soldiers. If you like these short personal videos, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for listening.